Hello everyone, this is Cindy at Cindy's Place. Today I'm going to continue my little talks that I give on herbal medicines. And one of the things that I find very helpful is valerian root. And it's a flower. It's a really pretty flower. It's a wild plant. And this is the root that has been dug up from the valerian plant and chopped and dehydrated, and I just keep it in a jar. So let me tell you a little bit about what it does. Valerian is in the honeysuckle family. There are many species of valerian, most medicinal, but this is the species most commonly used medicinally. I grow it in my garden, and it is my go-to occasional herb sleep aid. It is also called garden heliotrope and nature's Valium. You can identify valerian usually from its 1 to 5 feet tall, depending on the location and the soil conditions. It has a straight round stem that is topped by an umbrella-like flower head. And you probably saw the picture of the valerian plant in my thumbnail. Its opposite dark green leaves have a blade with 6 to 11 pairs of terminal leaflets. These leaflets have prickly margins and are hairy underneath. Valerian flowers are in branched batches, and each flower is about 1/5 of an inch long. They are tiny white to pink blossoms, and the flower has 3 stamens and a distinctive scent. A lot of people think the valerian has a very abrasive scent. It's not pleasant. I don't think it's a pleasant scent, especially after you prepare it. And you can put it, which I have put it into liquid form, into a tincture, which is done by filling 3/4 of a jar with your valerian root, 3/4 full, and then you pour in 80 to 100 proof vodka, clear vodka, to fill the rest of the jar. And you leave it for about 6 weeks to ferment. And then you have your valerian tincture, because the alcohol draws out all of the medicinal properties that is in the root. So I have it in a tincture in liquid form, and I also have it like this if you want to make it into, rather drink it as a tea. But I have to tell you, it is not a pleasant smelling plant. It's actually, my son drinks it. He's suffered with PTSD from coming back from Afghanistan. He was in the army, and he has some other issues, anxiety, that sort of thing. So he sometimes will take the valerian tea, and his wife says, you have to drink it outside because it smells so bad. And it really does have a bad odor, but it works. Edible use. The seeds are edible when lightly roasted. And medicinal use, the root is mostly commonly used, which is what I have. But the leaves may also be used for medicine, although they are less potent than the roots. Valerian's used as a sleep aid with excellent results. If you have insomnia, you get to sleep faster and you can sleep longer without waking. And they also report that they wake up refreshed in the morning with no residual drowsiness. It can become habit forming, so use only when you absolutely need it. Anxiety and panic attacks. Valerian root has a calming effect that's beneficial to people with panic and anxiety disorders, which is what my son uses it for. Epilepsy, if a person has epilepsy, valerian has a relaxing effect on the muscles of the body. For regular use to prevent attacks, usual dosage is between 100 milligrams to 1 gram of dried and powdered root. Mine isn't powdered, but this is the dried root. You want to start with a low dose, depending on the person's size and the severity of the disease, and increase it gradually until you find a level that works. It can also be used for acute attacks. It lowers blood pressure and pulse rate because it is a sedative and it does calm you down. And so it does lower blood pressure and pulse rate. You can, a word of warning is that you can overdose on the valerian. There have been instances where people have, it is an herb, it's a plant, but it's not a cooking herb. This is medicine. Please remember that and take it as, do your research, see what's good for you, depending on what you're using it for. Have just a couple of drops of the liquid valerian in a cup of tea is enough. If you make tea with the valerian, just remember that it's going to be strong and be very careful with it because it is addicting and you can overdose on this drug. So please be careful. It'd be like taking too much Valium. You can do harm to yourself. Valerian relaxes the blood vessels to naturally reduce blood pressure and pulse rate. Valerian root is calming and helps lessen the effects of nicotine withdrawal if you're trying to quit smoking. It especially helps with irritable people, with the irritability people often experience when quitting smoking. And you want to use that in a tincture form for that. Okay, if you want to harvest the flowers, you cut the flowering tops off as they appear. This enables a better development of the root. So you really don't want your valerian plant flowering. In the first year, many of the young plants do not flower, but produce a luxuriant crop of leaves. Harvest the roots in autumn. Dig deeply to get the entire root system, planting some back for future harvests. Slice the roots into small sections and dry for future use. I put mine in a dehydrator and it works just fine. Just dehydrate them, dry them out, and I also put them in a blender and chop them to make them small so I can use them. And they keep quite well. Once they're dried, they keep for a very long time. And I have to warn you, in ordinary doses, valerian exerts a quieting and soothing influence upon the brain and nervous system. However, in large, repeated doses, it can actually produce pain in the head, heaviness, and stupor. It can become addictive, so use only when you need it. Do not use during pregnancy, as its effects are not known. We don't know what the effect on a fetus would be if you're pregnant. So do not use it if you're pregnant. And so that is my herbal lesson for today. And if you really want to know about a lot of herbal plants, the ones that you can grow yourself or you find in the wild, I bought this book. I love it. I wasn't sure if I would like it when I got it because it was one of those advertised things that's on Instagram. And of course, I collect medicinal books. I'll go, oh, I'm going to read that. And I have like a small library of medicinal books. Some of them are really good. Some of them should be tossed. But this is a good one to keep. And it's called The Lost Book of Herbal Remedies. And there's the author and the information if you'd like to order one. And they showed this on Instagram, and I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't real sure if I trusted it or not, but I will read any herbal medicine book that comes out just to see and actually use some of the suggestions to see if it actually works. And I already knew that Valerian works because I have a herbal medical book that I refer to quite often. But this one actually is very good. It's very simple, easy to understand, and it has pictures of the plants so you can identify them. And I do recommend this book. So that's something that if you're a beginner, you might want to look into. It's a good book to have. I prefer the, like I said, I have some in my library that are, they're actually books written by doctors. So sometimes you have to kind of read it twice and, because they have a lot of medical terminology. And if you're not familiar with medical terminology, then it might be a little overwhelming. But this book is very easy. It's an easy read, and I would recommend it. And they did not ask me to sponsor this. I just simply like the book. And I would recommend it if you want to get into herbal medicine. It covers a lot. It covers a lot. So that's my herbal medicine advice for today. So I hope you all are having a great day, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. And if you try the Valerian, I am not a doctor, and I will not sell it or prepare it for someone else because it is medicine. And I'm not qualified to do that. But if you want to try it, do some research on it. Check into it yourself. I mostly checked into the Valerian for to put with my medical supplies because I'm a prepper. And if someone were to break a leg or break an arm, God forbid, in your group, your prepping group, and you have no way to get to a doctor or to go get medicine, if you have to set a leg or something, you want that person to feel as little pain as possible. And there's two things you can use. Valerian is like Valium. If you give them just enough of a dose to relax them, it can put you to sleep, which would be preferable if you're doing something painful to someone. And also wild lettuce, that will be another video, but that also is an excellent painkiller given in the proper dose, can put you to sleep. And it also will slow down your heart rate and pulse. So you have to be really careful and know what you're doing if you're going to give this to someone else. So anyway, those are my thoughts for today. I hope I didn't scare anybody off from using it, because if you read about it, read up on it, study it. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. But please know what you're doing and be confident about what you know before you administer or take herbal medicines. Very important. So you guys have a great rest of the weekend, and I love you all, and God bless you, and stay well and healthy. Love you guys. Bye-bye.